Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Dominique. Dominique Loipe. I am on the business development team at 2Dialog, and I want to thank you for attending the session today. I am actually going to just get started, and then I'll show you what our agenda looks like. Okay. So first thing is just a couple quick housekeeping items. The presentation, we are going to go into a demonstration of the product itself, and that's really best viewed in full screen. So if you want to adjust your screen to full screen, that'd be great. All of your microphones are muted. However, we welcome and encourage you to submit questions to us that we can answer at the end of the session. So please submit all your questions using this webinar control panel here that hopefully you can see on your screen, and those will come to me and I will be able to answer those at the end of the session. Any questions that I can't get to, I will go ahead and follow up with you afterwards. Okay, so here we go. Here's our agenda. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about 2Dialog, who we are, how we fit into this space, and how the solutions work for nonprofit organizations. And then we're going to go right into the demonstration portion of the webinar. And then after that, I'm going to leave time for questions and answers. So all those questions that you submit through the control panel we'll address at the end of the session. And then everyone wants to know about pricing. So we're going to talk a little bit about a few minutes about pricing, kind of just some stakes in the ground. We don't necessarily have off-the-shelf pricing. We work with our clients individually, but I'll just show you a little bit about what that generally starts at. Okay, a little bit about 2Dialog. We were founded by nonprofit technology veterans. We were actually born out of a large $40 million direct response agency called Stratmark. And Stratmark, at the time, now they've been around for well over 30 years, and they're very established in the nonprofit community, working with some of the largest and most respected nonprofit organizations in the world. And they, some time ago, they realized that they weren't entirely satisfied with the solutions that were out there, and at that time it was really Convio, Blackbaud, and Conterra, which are obviously now all one. And so basically what they wanted to do was create some online solutions that really that catered to their multi-channel efforts and not just their online efforts. And so that's kind of where 2Dialog was born from. And before they actually launched 2Dialog as its own separate entity and as its own separate company, they surveyed about 50 nonprofit organizations and agencies that serve nonprofit organizations, and they asked them, what is it that you'd really like to see in a solution before we build this thing? We really want to know what the market, does everybody else want the same things that we want? And so really what we heard was people wanted a system that was easier to use. They wanted a system that was going to integrate or at least be able to transfer data in and out of other solutions that they may also be working with, another CRM, for example. And then they also wanted something that was going to support their multi-channel efforts, as I had mentioned. So if I'm doing offline campaigns, I want to be able to drive people to a location online and capture that information. And they also wanted something that was going to be less expensive. So essentially that's what we built. We built this comprehensive set of online tools, and ultimately what we're trying to do is make it easier for you to raise for fundraising, online fundraising. And so that is all built on top of a very robust CRM that's called Reunion, and we're going to talk about that. Our CRM is unique in that it can serve as a CRM database of record for your organization, or it can also serve as a data exchange, which is what a number of our clients do as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But ultimately what we tried to do was create solutions that, kind of a soup to nuts type of platform that really was all in one place where you can access all the information that you need in one centralized location. This is how we view the base direct response engagement. Step one is you're engaging your customers. So whether it's through email, television, print, social media, PR efforts, whatever it is, however you're engaging with your supporters, that's really step one. And what you want to do is ultimately drive them to a conversion point. So you want to send them to a central location or a focused location where they can take an action. And so that's really step two. So you're converting that engagement. And so typically you'll send them to a website or a microsite, a landing page, a donation page, etc. And then step three is cultivating that supporter. So now that you have, step one, you've captured their attention. Step two, they have taken an action. And now step three is, let's take that action and let's put all the people who took similar actions, for example, in one location, and then let's continue to speak with them on a level that is targeted to what they've already told us they want to know more about. And we'll repeat and kind of go through this more in depth as we move forward. Okay, so this is how our products fit into the overall engagement. Step one is really steps 1 and 2 are addressed by our billboard tool. And billboard is the online communications. That's where you're going to send emails and build microsites, landing pages, donation pages. So that's steps 1 and 2. And then reunion, again, is our CRM. And that's where all the information, all of the actionable data is housed. And Insight is really just that. It's that kind of end-to-end visibility of the entire engagement. So what the email that you've sent or the communication that you've sent, the data that's collected by the actions that your supporters, your constituents, and your donors have taken, and all of that data sits in Reunion and can be transferred to and from your CRM database of record. And so this is sort of the 50,000-foot view. Billboard is that direct interface with the outside world, and then everything gets populated in Reunion, and again, Insight allows you to see all of the data on a campaign level for all of the campaigns that you're managing. And then DEXE is, when I mentioned that Reunion acts as a database exchange, that's what that DEXE ultimately means, is it's the data exchange. It allows you to import and export data in and out of your other database if you have another database of record. So one of the things that we like to say is that we offer the best of both worlds, and we say that we've nonprofitized open source technology. When we interviewed those 50-some nonprofit organizations and agencies, we heard that they wanted something that was going to be easier to use. They also wanted more flexibility. So they didn't want to, well, on the one hand, some people wanted to be able to just go in and use like a WYSIWYG editor, what you see is what you get editor, and build templates, much like you'll see in any of the other type solutions like Constant Contact or any of those guys. They wanted that for the non-technical marketer, but they also wanted the ability for the tech-savvy, the folks who have internal resources or are working with an agency or are agency partners themselves. They wanted to be able to go in and essentially white label the product and build whatever they wanted within the product. And so that's ultimately what we've done. We give you that flexibility. If you have limited technical expertise, much like myself, and you want to be able to kind of work with existing templates and plug and play, we offer that to you. Or if you're someone that wants to build something in Dreamweaver, a microsite or a landing page or an email, and upload it into our system, you can do that as well. Some of the benefits and advantages, and this is a list of things ultimately, for the most part, that we're going to be covering today in the demonstration, so just kind of want to let you know to keep an eye out for these things. We're going to be going through how to build and send email campaigns, microsites, landing pages, and donation pages. And what you can see is our product gives you the ability to accept and track transactions, registrations, surveys, donations. We have e-commerce capabilities. We're gonna go through the CMS system and show you how to build some of those things. We are integrated with 5 different payment gateways. Typically, our clients use one of them, and they're some of the bigger ones out there that you've heard of. We're also going to show you how you can segment You can do segmentations with your supporters for customized email campaigns. And we're also going to go through the performance analytics of we're going to send a campaign, and then we're going to show you how did that campaign perform and show you some of the metrics that are available to you. And then some of the things that we've been asked about in the past, I just kind of wanted to bring this up, is we'll also talk about how you can process and manage memberships. And I say through the integration here, we do have some integrations with CRM systems. Affinequest is one, Orange Leap is another. And with them, with our partners, we can manage those memberships on both our end and their end. If you have a different CRM system, it's a little bit more of an import-export process, but essentially, that is a functionality that we offer as well. You can apply Google Analytics down to the line item of your of the metrics that you would like to, the data that you'd like to track. We have a couple of new features that are pretty exciting. Litmus allows you to view what your email is going to look like in 32 different email previews before you send that message. So if you want to see what it looks like in Outlook, Yahoo Mail, Gmail, Hotmail, on your BlackBerry, on an iPad, an iPod, that's all available to you within the product and before you actually send your message. Advocacy is a new integration that we just formed with CapWiz, who's actually the leading provider of advocacy database information. And we have an integration with them, and so you now have the ability to plug advocacy into everything you're doing within 2Dialog and track all of that within 2Dialog. We're not going to get into the demonstration of that today, but that is a tool, and I'm happy to talk with any of you further about that at a later date. We also do, I mentioned we have a few CRM partners. Advocacy is our new tool. We are partnered with peer-to-peer organizations, or companies, I should say, solutions, mobile technologies, widgets. So what we tried to do, and I think I mentioned this earlier, is that we wanted to be able to speak to other solutions, and that was something that we heard other organizations, other nonprofit organizations wanted us to be able to do. And so rather than trying to build everything ourselves and kind of offer a little bit of everything at a sort of mediocre quality level, what we did was we tried to really perfect an integration layer so that we can now offer our clients a best-of-breed solution. So we'll focus on the things that we are expert at, and then we're going to integrate with other solutions and partner with other technologies to be able to offer that best-of-breed solution to our clients. So if there's an events management module that just does everything that an organization needs, we'll build an integration layer with them, and in some cases we already have. We'll build that integration layer and offer our clients the whole package through other expert solutions. Quick example. Don't Tear Me Down is a project from one of our clients called Liberty Institute, and what they did was, before there was a cross in the Mojave Desert that was erected as a tribute to veterans of foreign wars, and the ACLU wanted to tear it down. And so basically Liberty Institute wanted to build this groundswell of awareness to prevent the ACLU from tearing it down. So before they endeavored on their effort and on their mission to gather to create awareness about this mission, they built a microsite on the 2Dialog platform. And so that's a screen grab of what you see here. And rather than going on Fox News and the Drudge Report and some of these other kind of high-profile media outlets, they built this microsite so that they could, when they generated the awareness or they piqued the interest of people, they could send people to a specific location to take an action. Because if you've piqued someone's interest, now give them an opportunity to take an action that is meaningful to them and beneficial to you. And that's ultimately what they did here with don'ttearmedown.org, which is still a live microsite today. Within 1 year, they grew their list from 7,000 to over 200,000 email names. They've increased donations over about a 3-year period from 15,000 to 1.1 million, and their Facebook fans, they started out at 0 and they're actually well over 35,000 at this point. But they've experienced tremendous success. In fact, they've revolutionized the face of the organization. Now, certainly, our tools didn't do that for them, but our tools supported their strategy so that they could maximize the efforts of their mission. And so some of the things that you see here is, when they went on Fox News and the Drudge Report and they drove people all to don'ttearmedown.org, where now people can engage with them by, they can collect people's email addresses, they can get people to donate directly on the microsite, to register for more information, they can interact with them through their blog widgets, and through giving them access to their social media outlets. They also have videos on their microsite homepage. So that's just an example of someone who's really taken the tools and run with them and done a very successful job of it. All right, so now I'm actually going to get into the product demonstration portion. And what you see here is the login screen. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. Now I've got it actually set up so that it defaults to open on Billboard, which again is our e-communications tools. And so that's what you see here. But if you wanted to go to Reunion, you can click on that. Reunion opens in a new tab. We're not really going to get into Reunion today, but just to show you, and this is not live data, but this is where you can get detailed information about your constituents and see what they're doing specifically on a campaign level. But we're going to actually step out of that. Another place you can go to is our control center, and I'm just going to start there because that really is sort of like the umbrella over all of our tools. And here's where you can basically, we have libraries within our control center, so for all of your email templates or templates for microsites and landing pages, we have container forms. We offer something like 30 plus container forms to our clients that are already existing when you start your account, and that you can plug into your website, you can plug into microsite pages, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But here's also where you can manage teams of users and create roles and responsibilities. We don't have a limit to the number of users that you can use within the account. I mean, obviously there's best practices around that. You don't want to have 75 users and really little control over the data that's going in and out of your e-communication system. But this is essentially where you can access the libraries of information, assign roles and responsibilities. You can also set up, we'll go into this a little bit later, but you can set up things for, we have what's called dynamic gift array, for example, where you want to set up codes, or actually formulas, so that if somebody gives, let's say, $100 in my June appeal, I want to make sure that everyone who gives over $100 will now, for my next appeal, see gift amounts of no less than $100, for example. So you can set all of that kind of stuff up in here. But I'm going to cruise out of that and go back into Billboard, and this is where we're going to spend most of our time today. A couple of things that I wanted to point out to you. Again, we had heard that our nonprofit clients wanted to see, they wanted something really easy and intuitive to use, and so hopefully that's what you'll notice is what we built. The tabs you have up here, we're going to go through how to build a list, how to build a message, building an action page, so that's going to be like a microsite or a donation page, and then the package is going to be the list connected with the message, connected to an action page or microsite, and that's our package. So we're going to build a package, and we're going to send it out, and then we're going to check the performance. So this kind of follows this direct response nomenclature, being that, we were born out of a direct response agency. All right, so first thing is a list. And by the way, those blue tabs really mirror the tabs up here. Okay, so first thing is a list. And in this scenario, I am a marketing coordinator for a fictitious nonprofit organization called Helping Hands. And what you see here is these are all of the lists that I have built over the course of time during my tenure at the Helping Hands. So let's go ahead and just open one of these. And as we talk about lists, one thing I just want to point out to you, this view here, this kind of dashboard view, is what you will see repeated when you click on a message, when you click on an action, and when you click on a package. The first thing over here you see is your description. If you want to assign any reference codes to your list, to your message, or your action, you can do that. We're going to talk about include and exclude groups in a moment. And then also over here you can have list statistics. Has this list been linked to other packages? So we can see here that this has been linked to other packages. And we have an activity log. So if you have a number of people within the same organization accessing the lists or messages, you might want to see what the activity looks like and who's done what. I'd like to point out also that this is really, everything here is meant to be very easy to use. So if you want to rename this list, you can just do that right here. Like maybe I want to call that my June newsletter. And I can just save that like that. And then, you can add a description, obviously, so on and so forth. So include groups and exclude groups. Your list can basically come from 3 different places. Your list is comprised of groups, and these groups, again, come from essentially three different places. Either a CSV file that you're uploading into Reunion, or it can come from your database and you're importing that data from your database, or it can come from Reunion itself, from previous mailings that you've done. So if let's say I've sent a mailing in May, and all of the people that I've sent a mailing to that lived within a specific zip code and donated, $50 or more, I segmented those people into a group. And so, again, groups make up a list. So it can either come from segmentations that you're doing within Billboard, it can come from your database that you're importing information from, or from a CSV file that you're uploading into Reunion. And we'll talk a little bit about the segmentations in a minute, but essentially the message is lists are comprised of groups. So here we have our include groups. So in this case I have Helping Hands update subscribers and Helping Hands newsletter subscribers are in my include group. In my exclude group, will always have your opt-outs in your exclude group, and then I see that I also have a couple of other folks. Maybe you're sending an email to an appeal to your entire database, but you want to leave out your volunteers, and maybe you also want to leave out your board members because you want to send them a different message. You would just add those to your exclude groups. And what you see here is so of my include groups, I have 25 people. Of my exclude, between the opt-outs, this Mark Test 1, and my internal email reviewers, I have excluded 11 people. So now I'm left with 14 people that I'm actually going to be sending, that make up this June newsletter. Okay, so that's essentially lists. So we're going to go ahead and sneak out of there. And now we're going to go to a message. And again, here's your list of messages. So, and if you wanted to preview it before opening the message, okay, so this is the message that I've built, and we're going to actually pretend we're building this message today. So I preview that message. Great, that's the message I'm looking for. So let's go ahead and pretend we haven't built that yet. Okay, so a couple things I want to point out. Again, this dashboard view should look familiar, where you have your description over here, you can manage reference codes, and then you're managing the message itself with the content, and you can preview the message. And then again, if it's been linked to another package, I can look here and I can see how that package has performed, and I have an activity log. Now there's all kinds of stuff going on down here, and this is actually the email previews. So I'd mentioned before that we are partnered with Litmus. They provide email previews of what your message is going to look like in other email providers. And so here you can click on, you can see all of the different email providers that we have here. And so that's pretty cool. You can go ahead and click on that to see what your message is going to look like before you send it. So let's go into the CMS, the editor, and show you what it looks like to build a message. So if you're sending a text message, you can do that here, but we're going to actually look at the HTML message. Okay, so here's what the message looks like. A few things I want to point out. You can see there's obviously tables and stuff in here. This is a template. The blue, let me actually preview that one more time. So you can really just see like this. Actually, it's pretty much just the blue background is the template that we have for this message, and I can grab that by clicking on templates, and that's going to access the templates within my library. And we can help set you up with templates. You know, in the beginning, you can build those in Dreamweaver. However you want to do it, we're very flexible. But essentially, you plug your templates into the library, you pick some templates, and then you add your content. Let me show you how easy to use. Here's a photo. Let's go to images. These are the images in my library. If I want to switch out this image, I can just click on it. It's that easy. If I want to grab something from my desktop, I just click Add, and I browse out to my desktop, and I can pick whatever file I want. All right, so we've switched out our photo there. It's just much of a drag and drop kind of a drag and drop, plug and play, that kind of thing. So let's go into, and again, you have your templates, you've got buttons, headers, footers, boxes, images, graphics, tables. All of this is housed in the control center, all of these things, and you can update and add and delete as much as you want. For the message, the styling of the message itself, we like to say it's similar to styling a Word document. So if you wanted to, you know, change the paragraph, justify left, center, right, you can do all that by just clicking on it and clicking justify right, for example. That looks bad, so we're not going to keep that. And then if you wanted to, let's say I wanted to, maybe I want to make that all italics, for example. I can do that. Make it bold, change the font size, all that you can do, change the color, all of that you can do here in the text tab. I'm actually going to undo that. And then we talked about the photos, and you can swap those out. You can swap out buttons, all of that. It's just very easy to kind of plug and play. If you look at the Tools tab here, I mentioned before that you could build something in another application and upload it. So let's say you wanted to build something in Dreamweaver, or your agency, if you have an agency, build something in Dreamweaver, you can just upload that here. Here's where you can insert external links or email addresses, and then we give you access to the source code. So I mentioned before, everything in the product can be white labeled, so you can go here, you can wipe this out completely. If you're someone that's comfortable working in code, you can do that right here. You can cut, copy, and paste, a lot of different options. But I'm going to actually get out of that view because it makes my eyes cross. You can delete things like powered by, you can delete these boxes. I mean, again, the message is that you can completely white label the product. One thing I want to point out, or another thing I want to point out, is you see there's these links here. These links don't actually go anywhere at this time. These links are placeholders. So let's say we've gone in here, we've built our message, we've stylized the font and the colors and everything else, and now we want to send these links. We want these links to be able to go somewhere. So if I hover over this, you see where it says single gift donation. Ultimately, what happens is we're just assigning it. We're setting up where it's going to go by creating an action. So in this case, I'm going to just, when you click on the word tragedy, I want it to be able to go to making a donation. And we'll show you how that all comes together in a minute. Right now, again, we're just setting up placeholders in this message. If I wanted to insert a transaction link, I can do that, where I can say, okay, I want the word, when you click on the word struggle, I want this to be a $100 donation to help Johnny. Okay, so you get the point. We've inserted placeholders, and we're going to link these up later to an action page. A couple other things to point out here. You see we have tokens. This pulls from the Reunion database, so you would just insert a token here. You know, if you want it to go to their first name, email, etc., that pulls directly from Reunion. You can insert an opt-out link, forward to a friend, view as a web page, and we talked about the transaction link. So now we've built our message. We've added some placeholders here. Okay, so now we're all set. So we're going to exit that. I'm not going to save my work, but here we have built our message within Billboard. Now we're going to build an action. Okay, so an action again can be a microsite, a donation page, a landing page, that kind of thing. So let's go ahead and let's look at, we can preview it. Hopefully that's going to come up. There we go. So this is, you know, not quite as as fancy as the Don't Tear Me Down .org microsite, but here's just a sample of a microsite that we built in the Helping Hands demonstration account. And let's go ahead and look at the editor. And again, here's your description. You can assign reference codes. Here's where you actually edit the content and has it been linked to another package. And here's an activity log to see who's done what previously. Okay. Again, I can preview the land. In this case, it's just a landing page. I can add pages. There's no limit to the number of pages that you add or to the number of microsites that you build within your account. But let's go ahead and let's just edit this really quick, and we'll pretend that we're building this microsite, or maybe it's already in existence. You know, you've created this microsite, and now you have a bunch of different campaigns that you want to forward back to this specific microsite. A couple of things to point out: you've got some tabs again, templates, forms. In this case, you can add commerce, advocacy that I had mentioned before, widgets, buttons, headers, footers, boxes, videos, etc. Styling, once again, much like a Word document, really it's going to be the same thing. This should all look familiar and be very intuitive and easy to use tools if you want to upload a microsite that you built in another application. So here we have our microsite, and I'm going to exit out of that. Okay, so we've created a list, we've created a message, and we have an action page or a microsite where we want to link our message to an action page. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll build a package. All right, so let's call this June fundraising. Oops. All right, and I'm going to have it come from me, Dominique Loipe, and my email address. I was hoping this would auto-populate, and the subject will be please give. Okay, so there you go. And here is our package that we're building. So here again we have a description, and maybe I want to change that. Maybe I want to call it, you know, June Ask. Okay, so I'll change that. I can put a description in there. Is this a one-time or is this a recurring campaign? So perhaps you want to set up a drip campaign or a welcome series. You can do that here. It's pending. It hasn't been sent yet. And here, if I change my mind, I actually want it to come from somebody else. You know, I want it to come from John Smith. I can do that. I can change the email that it's coming from, and I can change the subject line all right here. All right, so this is where kind of the rubber meets the road. We're going to select the list that we built. So here we go. Let's look and see. The list that we built was June newsletter, so I'm going to select that. Okay. And then our message that we built was the Helping Hands monthly campaign. So I'm going to select the Helping Hands monthly campaign. And wow, what you see is all of those action links that we had embedded in our message are all populating here. And here you see the message down below. And you can see where all of those links are. So I've got, can see where every one of those links is. And what I want to do now is I want to actually send all of those to a default action page or a default microsite. So let's go ahead and send everybody to, we'll just say, call this one. Okay, so here they're all going to default to the Helping Hands monthly appeal microsite. And I wanted to send these guys single gift donation. I'm going to send those people to the donation page on that microsite. So then you go on down and you pick whichever page. It's a donate button. I'm going to send those people to a donation page as well. I see that I have a mission survey link. Okay, so I actually don't want that to go to the Helping Hands appeal website. I'd rather actually have that go to my, oops, I grabbed the wrong one. I want to actually send people to my mission trip microsite. And so there you have it. And that's the survey. So I'm going to send people to the survey page on my Helping Hands mission trip. And so you go on down and you link every one of your links to a page on a microsite. And if if it's not the default microsite, you can select a different microsite or a different landing page or donation page within your account. You don't have to send people to a microsite, and you don't have to insert links. You can send people to external links. But again, what we want to do is we want to be able to drive people to take a specific action, and we want to know what that action is. So we want to send people to a link, and we want to capture all of the data. So if we're sending people to a place that sits within 2Dialog, we can capture all of that data. All right, so we've gone ahead and we've assigned every one of those pages, and we've got our list created. We've got our message linked to our list to our message, and our message to a microsite. So, and if we want to assign any reference codes, we can do that here. And now we're going to go ahead and schedule it. I always like to send a test message before I send any emails. So you can go ahead and you can send a test message, which I'm not going to do right now, but you can send a test message to see what does my message look like before I send it to, thousands or millions of people. All right, it looks great. I want to send it, so let's go ahead and set that up. So you can obviously schedule it well into the future, and you schedule your package. And so now we've got everything set up and ready to roll. Done. We've sent our package. Okay, great. How has it performed? And actually, before we look at the performance, let's see what the package, what our message looks like. So this is the message that we built, and I sent this to myself previously, but basically this is what the message looks like that we built in 2Dialog. Here it is. I sent it to myself. This is what it looks like in Outlook. And now if somebody wants to make a donation, all right, they'll click on that link and say they want to make a $60 donation, and let's go ahead and need to make sure I have the right pretend credit card number. So we're going to set that up. Okay, and the most used credit card within 2Dialog. And the name on the card, so this is my boss's credit card. So we're just going to have everything go to him, and I'm actually going to send myself the email. All right, so we hit submit. And the donation is being made. Great, and here is my confirmation. This is the confirmation that I made the donation. That looks great. And in my email, I received a thank you from the Helping Hand. And this is also, we built this within 2Dialog, so this is what that looks like. And automatically, I've set it up to attach a PDF receipt, and there's the receipt. And I've never left 2Dialog. It all happens directly within 2Dialog. So if you have things that are being processed elsewhere and you have to set things up in different accounts, this is, creates quite a few efficiencies. Okay, so great. I gave $60 and I received a confirmation. And now I want to check the performance. How did my package perform? Okay, so let's click on this one. All right, so the first thing you're going to see is kind of the standard, information that you typically track: number of emails sent, accepted, bounced, forwarded. All of that information is here, and with visual representation. And what you can also see is we have these magnifying glasses here. So if you click on that, you can see exactly who, in this case, I clicked on accepted. These are all the people that accepted the email. All right. And we talked before about groups make up a list, and if I want to segment people into a specific group, well, I can do that by just clicking that little folder right there, and I can create a response group. So I can send those people right into a response group. I can also export them to a CSV file, but there they all are. Okay, for all of these unique clicks, unique renders, unique confirmed opens. All this information is updated in real time. All you have to do is hit refresh. Okay, so let's look at a few of these other tabs here. The click performance, this is how, remember all the little links that we have within our message? Okay, so if we want to click on one of those links, or if we want to see what, let's see. Okay, so you have this kind of disembodied hand here that shows you where on the message this specific link is, and I can see that 2 people have clicked on it. I can look at who those people were by clicking the magnifying glass, and I can also put those people into a specific response group. Okay. All right, and so that's how the clicks show. Okay, and let's look at these other tabs. Domain analysis. So this is how the email has performed in a number of different domains. And again, I can look to see specifically who those people are that came from 2Dialog.com, and I can put those people in a response group, and you have, again, visual representation down here, and you can refresh for the information, to see the information in real time. Then we have failure analysis. We're very proud to have a high level of deliverability. We have a couple of great integrations. We're integrated with Port 25, and they help make sure that all of the emails get sent. We have clients that send several thousand emails a month, and we also have clients that send several million emails a month. And Port 25 is really they're the folks that make sure that all of those emails get sent. They're really that distribution engine for us. We also work with a company called Return Path, and they make sure that the emails get delivered into an inbox, and so they really help to keep those messages out of spam boxes. Another thing to point out here is that, you know, we do require clean lists, so you know, we definitely want to make sure that you're starting with clean lists, and but we're not going to shut you down. We'll work with you to help make sure that those lists are clean and that they stay clean, and we'll help you clean those up. We like to just make sure to keep all of our IPs warm, and it's almost like having good credit. We want to make sure that all of our IPs and that all of the emails that we're sending are good emails, and that we, you know, can consistently send emails. It's, you know, again, it's kind of like credit. You know, I'm using my credit card every month, but I'm paying it off at the end of each month. And it's really similar with emails. I'm sending, you know, regular emails every week or every other week, and I'm maintaining clean lists. And, you know, ultimately, there's some best practices there, and we really try to work with you to help you follow best practices and yield successes with your email campaigns. So that's failure analysis. You know, you've got your hard bounces and your soft bounces, and you can look to see who those people were and put them into a response group, and also refresh for updated data. Okay, the last 2 tabs are really probably the 2 most important tabs. And the first one, transactions. So this is great because this gives you a real breakdown of all of the transactions, all of the donations that you've received, what's the total amount, the total number, how many were successful, were any declined, and if they were declined, you know, who was that? And I can put those people into a specific response group so that I can email them and say, you know, hey, sorry, you know, your donation wasn't received, or, you know, however you want to handle that. But you have the option to further communicate with them, and obviously also with successful transactions. If you've assigned reference codes, you can see where did these people come from, and how did they, and for the amounts that were given, what were the reference codes associated with those, and the average size. We also have a state breakdown, and then in this scenario, what you see here is state breakdown, average size gift, number of gifts per state, and the average size of the gift. And then, of course, amount breakdowns. And so once again, you can look and see who those specific people were, and you can put them into a response group. And of course, you can refresh to have the most up-to-date data. All right, package comparison. Now this is great because this is where you can look to see how have my different packages performed. So, you know, maybe you're doing some A/B or split testing, and you want to see, you know, how did this message with this subject line perform versus this one, or how did my, my June appeal perform versus my May appeal, and that kind of thing. So you can go in and you can select the metrics that you want to, so I'm just going to actually remove all these that you want to compare. So let's say I want to compare emails accepted, forwarded, unique renders, and unique clicks and click-to-open rate. All right, that's everything I want to compare. So we've got our metrics here, and the packages that I want to look at. I'm going to actually, let's just pick a few random ones. So let's look at that one. And there we go. So I have 3 packages that I want to compare. Okay, so now I click refresh. Okay, so these are how my packages compared to each other. And then, if these packages are still, maybe they were just recently sent and they're still accepting donations, you can always hit refresh to view the most current data. You can also export this. So if you need this for a presentation or a meeting, a board meeting, which you want to share this information in your annual report, you can export that to an Excel spreadsheet and work with it from there. And so essentially, that's kind of soup to nuts, the 2Dialog platform. And again, hopefully what you saw here was a lot of functionality, all in one system. You have the ability to build and send emails, use a CMS system, you have e-commerce capabilities, collect transactions, segmentations. We have other things. I mentioned Litmus, advocacy, and we're integrated with other mobile providers. We have widgets that you can plug into our emails, that you can plug into microsites, that you can plug into other sites that drive people back to the microsites that you build in 2Dialog. We also have an integration with Facebook. So if you wanted to take one of our container forms that I had mentioned earlier, a donation form, and plug that into your Facebook, you can plug that in and collect donations through Facebook that are then captured within 2Dialog, which is great. And actually, before I move on to the questions part, I am going to show you a couple of examples of some of our clients. This is great. I'm going to show you how this works. Woodland Park Zoo. I want to show you this form really quick. So this is just an example of a number of different information and as well as money that you can collect in one single submit. So here I want to sign people up for new memberships. I can add children, I can add guests, I can add a discovery passport. If I wanted to add a survey question, I could add that in here. In this case, depending on what you select here, you'll receive a discount. And so all of that information gets auto-updated based on what you select here. You can update that, and then you can pay for everything at once with one single submit button. And all of that data, of course, gets captured in 2Dialog. A couple of examples of what some of our other clients have done. This is a container form that they plugged into their website. And this information, when someone makes a donation, gets collected in 2Dialog. This is an example of Los Angeles Mission. They actually built this page on the 2Dialog platform. And, I mentioned earlier that, we can be very flexible. So, you can hijack a form, you can iframe any form into your web page. We're really flexible, and we try to make it as easy as possible for you to work with us. And this is the don'ttearmedown.org website that I showed you a little screen grab of earlier. Just to show you a couple of email examples, this is one of our clients, World Serve Ministries, and an email that they've sent where they have the donate now and a video that you can watch. I like how they put this link right at the top instead of you as a web page. It's a donation that you can make directly from the top of there. You don't have to scroll down at all. You can do that right from there. Okay, so those are some examples, and I have a number of questions here, so I'm going to look at some of these questions. And all right, so one question about can we build a microsite outside of the editor? You absolutely can. In fact, the Don't Tear Me Down, I'm on here right now. The Don't Tear Me Down microsite was built, it may have been built in Dreamweaver, I'm not entirely sure, but that was built externally and it was uploaded into the 2Dialog site. However, you know, you can basically just build a background, you know, a template, a background, and manipulate the content within the editor as well. It can be pretty sophisticated. I have a question about multiple users in one account, and let me go back to the control panel. Control Center. This is where you would you can put as many people as you want into the account, and you give them different roles and responsibilities. There's no limit, again, to the number of people that you can have in the account, and you can, you know, again, there's best practices around that, but you can manage all of those users here, and you can add new users, manage existing ones, assign roles, you know, if you're working with an agency, or maybe you have volunteers that you want to give access to and limit that access and just have like 1 or 2 administrators. You can set all of that up here. Getting names, I have a question about, can I get names out of my current database and send to them from here? When you have, again, groups make up a list, and so if you want to upload a CSV file, maybe you're exporting, you know, depending on I'm not sure who your CRM is, but if you can export those folks into a CSV file, then you can upload them right into Reunion and build a list and add, you know, the group, whoever the group is that you uploaded from your CSV file, and then you can create a list and send to them from here. And I see that there are a few questions regarding pricing. We have a couple of questions here. Okay, I see. Joe Gonzalez, you have a question that I'm not able to answer, but I am going to follow up with you. I'm going to follow up with you afterwards. It's a question regarding advocacy, and that is a newer integration for us, and so I don't have all of those answers, but I can definitely follow up with you afterwards to get that for you. But again, I see some questions coming in regarding pricing, and so I think I'm going to skip to, we only have a few minutes left anyway, so I'm going to skip over to back to our presentation and talk for just a minute about pricing. We started at the beginning. So our product, and I think I may have mentioned earlier, we don't really offer off-the-shelf pricing. And what I'm showing you here, our pricing is based on usage, first of all. And what I'm showing you here is really like some base pricing. So if you're looking at email with microsites and you're in that 0 to 10,000 emails per month, you start at around $416 a month. Again, our pricing is based on usage, and it goes into kind of buckets of usage. So there's 0 to 10,000, there's 10 to 50,000, there's 50,000 to 150,000, 150,000 to 500,000, and 500,000 to 1 million, and then over 1 million. So that's sort of how our pricing breaks down. And this is where the pricing starts at. Microsite usage starts at $150 a month, and our support is really just 15% of the services that we provide. So here's a cost example to kind of bring it all together. You have your one-time services fee, so that's really like your setup and training, and that's roughly around $3,000 to $5,000. 3 is pretty low, but it's in that $3,000 to $5,000 range, and that's for training and for setting it up, and depends on, you know, what type of CRM. Do we need to look at different, you know, integrations, that kind of thing. And then we have in our example that we provided here, we had $416 a month for less than 10,000 emails and 50 concurrent microsite visitors per month. So if you look at that cost plus the microsite fee, plus the support fee, you're at around $650 a month. And so $650 a month per year plus your services fee. Your total first year cost in this scenario is around $10,800. And then your second year and beyond would just be the fees minus the setup, because that setup and training is a one-time fee. I also want to add a very important point about training. We typically do most of the training online, although we do occasionally have clients that come to our offices. We can also go to your offices. But when you, especially for online training, we record all of that and we build templates with you that you then can take with you. You know, when you're done with training, those are all set up already in your account for you to use as you go about and use your account. And then you take that recording with you. So, you know, if you've got, obviously sometimes there's staff turnover and things like that, or you've added new employees or volunteers, you have the recordings of the training that you can share with other folks within your organization. We also have how-to videos. So if you're trying to figure out how to plug your donation form into Facebook at 10 o'clock on a Friday night, which hopefully you're not doing, but if you are, you can access one of the how-to videos on our website and it walks you through the steps on how to do that. So we try to make it as simple as possible and to make it easy for you to, you know, figure things out while you're in the product itself, but certainly we have staff available to assist you during business hours, and we also have different levels of support, but what I've quoted here is kind of like that base level of support. But again, we try to offer as much online support for you to work with throughout your using the product. And so essentially, that is pretty much the 2Dialog product from soup to nuts, and I really want to thank you again for your time today and for your attention. I welcome questions. We had a number of questions come in that I'm sorry I knew I wasn't going to have time for, but I will definitely follow up with you. I know we had a variety of organizations on the call, and so it might be easier to follow up individually with you in any case, but I want to thank you for your attention and for your questions, and also for the good work that you do in our communities, and welcome you to follow up with me with any additional questions, and look forward to speaking with all of you in the future. Thank you so much and have a great day.